What? Another twist to the transfer saga. Like, what does that mean for Pogba? If we sign Eduardo Camavinga, would they both leave on a free transfer? If we don't let him go like Win Wonder, would it be a first team contender? Because I don't trust Oli Gunnar Solskjaer. What? Another twist to the transfer saga. Like, what does that mean for Pogba? If we sign Eduardo Camavinga, would they both leave on a free transfer? If we don't let him go like Win Wonder, would it be a first team contender? Because I don't trust Oli Gunnar Solskjaer. What?
Yo, this is the OT99 Banter Room where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. Look, we're back again with another show. It's your boy Firms and it's NK in here. So we're here, to talk about the latest Manchester United news, reviews, gossip, smoke, and all that jazz. Look, today, personally, there's no other place to start than Jadon Sancho. So we're going to talk about him anyway. We're going to talk about the latest breaking development in news for Manchester United transfers, and that is Camavinga, the Rennes midfielder. And we are obviously going to talk about the ongoing situation with the centre-back, and that is, whether it be Pau Torres or whether it be Varane. So we're going to get into that in a minute, but let's start off with Jadon Sancho. So obviously, all of the blue tick journalists that is in the world of football have been tweeting over the last day or two. It was a frenzy on social media. Everyone was just like, Sancho this, Sancho that, Sancho this. Everyone wants to be the first person to break that news, to get that. I mean, I guess it's a lot of news surrounding Jadon Sancho. Who's the biggest transfer right about now that could happen in the transfer window. That looks realistic. I mean, there's other ones that could obviously break that and be more expensive. But right about now, Sancho's the one that looks like it's very imminent. It's going to move, and it's going to be to my club, Manchester United. But look, let me start off with some of these quotes. So you got Simon Stone that works for the BBC. He said he was told that Dortmund asking price for Jadon Sancho is 90 million euros. So United are still 5 million euros apart. So that's 4.3 million. He says attempts to find an agreement over bridging the gap continuing, no agreement yet. So this is yesterday. However, you've got other journalists that are saying Man United are nearing an agreement with Dortmund to sign Jadon Sancho. Deal not yet done, but further progress has been made. And the 21-year-old England winger looks on course to becoming a Man United player. That's another one goes on to say, Falk goes on to say, no, new offer from United for Sancho to Dortmund. The clubs are close to an agreement. That's coming out of the Bild newspaper. You got Romano himself saying tonight Jadon Sancho's camp and intermediary feelings are the same as the clubs, Man United and Dortmund. The agreement is really close. Final details expected to be completed in the next few days, and then Jadon will be a Manchester United player or will join. And finally, this is out of journalists in Germany as well, saying all parties are confident that the deal can be done. Man United's second offer was 85 million euros. Dortmund want 90 million plus add-ons. Seems that the compromise could be 90 million fixed fee, no add-ons to be continued. Look, everyone is saying that this deal is basically imminent. Look, this is a deal that could potentially happen when we wake up tomorrow morning. On a Monday, it could happen on Tuesday. I feel like it's going to happen before the end of next week. So if we're talking here again on a Sunday, the deal, it will be a Manchester United player. Do you know what I mean? Especially if England get knocked out, I think it's going to fast track that. Look, NK, I know that this whole thing about Jadon Sancho has been swamped about the transfers being, it should have been done last summer. There was a delay. But for me, I do feel like Manchester United fans, your camera's gone a bit. Manchester United fans and are kind of getting distracted a bit. Are kind of getting distracted over the type of play that is going to be coming to Manchester United. The type of quality that is coming to Manchester United. Now, for me, and I'm going to ask you, what are your views on Sancho's signing, and what do you think he can bring to Manchester United? Because there's a lot of things that we're disregarding.
Yeah, obviously we all know that the quality Sancho is gonna bring to United. Like we've been crying for, what do you call it, playmakers in our team. Even though we got two of the world playmakers there in Bruno and Pogba, but for some reason I think the way that we are being set up. Everybody's crying for like, oh, we need more playmakers. Don't worry, like Sancho is going to bring a lot to the team. He can score goals, he can create goals. Like he play forward. And one of our biggest problem from last season, for the last two, even under Oli, is breaking teams down when they sit deep. And I think with a player of him, he can kind of like help, kind of like turn a lot of like the draws into a win. Well, that's what we hoping in a way. If he like it comes and just like hit the ground, kind of like running. That's kind of the kind of like quality that where we expect. And he's very young too. You know, he's very young too. He got a long way. If he managed to kind of like be disciplined, train well, and develop, he can actually turn out to be like a very, very world-class talent. So the sky's the limit with this guy. The sky's the limit with this guy. And I think as United fans, we are very excited to kind of like welcome him to the club. You know, we always like players who are flair, players who can play. So I feel like that's why as United fans, we are all excited to kind of like see him come to Old Trafford.
So look, I was on Twitter yesterday, right? And shout out, you know, everyone on Twitter. Look, I forgot to mention. Remember, guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, join us on Twitter at 99banter, Instagram at OT99_banterroom. Look, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. TikTok at OT99banterroom, all one word. Follow, support the thing. Yeah, you'll follow, you get the latest news, the latest gas in our view. Look, so I was on Twitter, yeah, and I saw someone tweet, and they said they just tweeted Manchester United's lineup, their attack, their, and I was sitting there looking at it. I was thinking, wow. So I saw the list: Cavani, Sancho, Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, Pogba, Bruno, Diallo, and I sat there thinking, whoa, like this team, when you write down those names on paper, just looks like it looks like FIFA. Like it looks like if you had a game of Football Manager or FIFA, do you know what I mean? You will have a team like that. It is stupid. And I'm thinking, do you know what? People say that Oli is not, you know, some people say that, you know, he's not a good manager. Some people say, you know, he's decent, he's learning on the job or whatever. But I look at that team and I'm not surprised that this team got second place in the Premier League. I'm not surprised that this team got to a final. I'm not surprised because this team has got World Cup winners in it, in Paul Pogba. You've got guys that was, you know, like player of the season, player of the month for how many seasons in a row, being Bruno Fernandes with crazy numbers. You've got Cavani, who's just a veteran striker. He's been doing it for years and years and years. Do you know what I mean? We've got talent already in the squad, and then you're adding Jadon Sancho on top. So I was thinking, this is frightening for any defense, having someone like Jadon Sancho on. You know the numbers that Rashford puts up, double figures. He's done it back to back now. And you're potentially going to have Jadon Sancho has been doing it in the Bundesliga, double figures coming off the right now. Finally, you've got that balance, and then you've got Cavani. You've got a winger now that in Sancho that likes to provide. His primary function is to put in balls, whether it be crosses, whether it be through balls or whatever, into the attackers rather than him scoring himself. And, you know, he can get goals, but his primary function is to provide. And that gets me gassed. I'm looking at their squad and I'm thinking, do you know what? Regardless of, I know we need centre-backs, I know we need midfielders and all of these things, but regardless, even if Sancho is the only person that came, there's no denying that Manchester United's team will be a better team than it was last season. Whether it's enough to close the gap, whether it's enough to win titles, is a whole nother story, and I don't think it probably is. But in terms of what we saw last season, if you're throwing Sancho into that mix, it's a totally better team. It's improved it massively. And another thing, you know, you look at our attack and, you know, people say, where's this person going to play? Where's that person going to play? Finally, I'm looking at a team now where if you bring in Sancho, you can have two guys in every position now. It automatically boosts it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And you know what? This is what I think Ole is just trying to kind of like get a bit similar to how Pep is with City in terms of like the attacking line and where they can kind of rotate and anybody can come onto the danger. My only thing is, if he actually get a place, he has to kind of rotate. And because I've been talking to you going to next season, and the only player that is very interesting, like I want to see where they're going to play, is Martial. You know, what happened to Martial? Because the thing is, I put them on paper for Martial and Rashford to be competing on the left-hand side, Greenwood and Cavani up top, and then Sancho and Ahmed on the right-hand side. That is me on paper anyway. That's what I've done it too. But obviously, Martial like to play in the middle. So, and I don't see how he get game time if Cavani is fit. If Cavani goes in playing with the same form that he's playing from last season, he will kind of like struggle to get into the team. But, you know, but having this kind of players means that, you know what, even if it's 0-0, 1-1, whatever the draw is, Oli can just still bring on 3 players and then it just changes. And then, you know what, it made me talk about when I remember there was this FA Cup when Oli came in, we played Arsenal, we were really 2-1. And then he said on Martial and Martial and Rashford on like in the 75 minutes to come and kill the game as a team.
That's what we need to see.
You know?
That's what we need to see.
That's what got Oli the contract, because he used to do stuff like that. And all of a sudden he kind of like went back. So once we get all these players in, I want players like Daniel James, I want him to be gone, you know, like, because I don't want to be seeing like him there and then tracking back. Because once you get this kind of like attacking lineup, especially with the midfielder we have, you're basically telling our 2 midfielders to like sit. Like, look, I've got attacking players that can do the job. I don't really need you lot to get involved that much. So just sit for me. Let these guys go and have fun. You know, just let guys go to just kind of like have kind of like a freedom. But it's all about a balance. I've always just told you that we go. It's such a special team. Depending on how you want to play, 1 or 2 key players that you buy can turn this team into a world-class team. But if you play a different system too, then it's kind of like going to be like you have to start kind of like all over again. But with the current kind of like formation that we're playing, player like Jadon Sancho or maybe like a centre back and a midfielder, well, we are probably like on the same kind of a level as City if we get kind of like 3 quality signings. Definitely.
I think so as well. I feel like we are just a few signings away after Jadon Sancho from being a team that you can genuinely say should be going out there to be challenging and competing. I think anything that will be holding us back won't be the team. I would say it would be the coaching staff or the manager or whatever like that. It wouldn't be down to the fact that our players are not good enough, because we know that they are good enough. So I'm excited to see that. And I know, you know, you touched on Dan James. I feel Dan James is one of those players that, you know, we've seen him doing well in the Euros, but, you know, he's being given a space to be able to run.
Has he been doing well in the Euros? Because I don't see it.
I mean, obviously they got a hammer in they got battered the other day.
But you know what, Daniel James is one of the players, he always hide, you know, and he always hide. Because even though they done well in the Euros, he ain't got no assists, he ain't got no goals. And as an attacker, I'm sorry, that's poor. You cannot get away with that playing for Man United. You need to contribute. And that's the problem with him. You can track back all you want, but mate, you are paid to score and assist goals. And I'm sorry, but he don't do that.
Not many goals and assists. Yeah, not many goals and assists. But I feel like I think I read something about like chances created. So the strikers weren't putting it in the net, but chances created. But hear me out. So Dan James has been a pivotal and important guy for Wales. I mean, they look at their 3 guys, which is Ramsey, Bell, and Dan James, because of his speed. He's a guy that can get them out of tough positions, like break out in counter attacks or whatever like that. He has a role to play. Obviously, his finishing is not the greatest, his end product's not the greatest. And he's come out and said it himself. You know, he said that, you know, that's something that he's been trying to work on, that, you know, he's always been criticized about his end product. And quite frankly, he's a guy that I feel like probably Man United looked at him, the scouts looked at him and thought, oh, Ryan Giggs. They thought of something, you know, he's like, they wanted the excitement, someone to get you off your seats. And Dan James' speed made them feel, you know, excited. But the thing about Dan James is a guy that he can only play a certain way at the moment. He's not got that ability where he can take a guy on, beat them, and then leave them. He's one of the guys that you need to slip him through, find a gap in the defense, slip him through on a free pass and let him run onto the ball, onto his feet, and then he tries to do whatever he wants to do from there. But I don't feel like he's not a guy like Jadon Sancho who can stand up a guy, beat them up, dribble. And if he was that, then maybe it'll be something great. But at the minute, he's not that. I feel alone will benefit him, you know? Alone.
Because the thing, I don't know, with Daniel James, I don't see him improving. I don't see him improving. You know, to this day, I'm very surprised with Daniel James. I'm very surprised with, and you know, and this is one of the problems of Man United, like this kind of a friendship that's there. Because obviously, Giggs recommended Daniel James. Giggs recommended him, you know, and that's why we bought him. And since we bought him, I haven't really seen anything that for me to say, hey, you know what, this guy can be like a star in the future. With Ahmed, for example, you can see there's potential there. You don't even take a genius to see. You see that guy, you see that there's potential there. James, I don't see nothing there. I really just, apart from like his pace, and obviously he's a hard worker, which in England, we appreciate people who are hardworking and people who are flair. But look, if Wales had like a Sancho and Rashford, he ain't even going to be seeing the pitch. That's for sure, man. That's for sure.
Yeah, I feel like, so I'm not surprised that, I'm not surprised that Manchester United bought him. Because when sort of we got Dan James, I feel like we was in that that sort of era under Ollie where he really was trying to mimic Sir Alex Ferguson's way. He was trying to buy like what he thought was the upcoming British guys. You know, he was linked with guys like David Brooks from Bournemouth. He was linked to that guy from Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? And was linked to Big Man, whatever his name is. I can't remember what his name is. But yeah, the Newcastle midfielder brothers over there. You know, we were linked with him. We were linked with Brooks. We were linked with like Dan James when we bought him. We were linked with at a point the centre back that Arsenal's gonna get. Do you know what I mean? Ben White was linked with all of these guys, and luckily enough, for one reason or another, you know, it didn't go through. It didn't go through, which is a good thing. And I see now Manchester United has now moved on to the guys like the foreign ones like Palestri, you know.
But even that, James was a championship player, you know. He was a championship player. And up to that time, I haven't seen no team trying to get him except for Leeds United, who was also in the championship, you know. So we I don't think we done scouting on James. We literally went on a recommendation of Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs said, hey, you know what, this boy is good. Same thing with that guy that we bought from Uruguay, for example. Diego Forlan recommended him, and then we went to go buy him. And you know what? With him, for example, we ship him alone. I don't think he will ever see United again. I really don't see him coming back again. So all this thing, you cannot be throwing money on players just because an ex-player recommended them. That's why we got scouting for. Go scout them. Let's see, you know. And with James, even when we bought James, I feel like the best thing we would have done is buy him and then probably give him out on loan because he was coming from the championship. There is no way you let a player come from the championship and have that many games that he had for United. To be honest with you, I feel like he done good considering like where he came from and the kind of the situation that we were into. And also he liked to play on the left-hand side. Yeah. You know, we bought a player, and that's one thing that United has been doing. We always buy players who want to be playing on the left-hand side when we have so many that can play on the left-hand side. And then we end up stinking them on the right-hand side, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree totally. Hopefully he gets along with the option to buy somewhere. I heard that, you know, your Leeds and stuff like that still want him, they're interested. So let's see what happens there. And I digressed a little bit, but it was good that we got that out of the way. Obviously, we've got Sancho looking like it's very imminent, looking like next week we could be hearing those famous words, here we go. Do you know what I mean? And he could be a Manchester United starting lineup come next season. And the great thing about Sancho is that he's really good playing right wing, and it's not someone that he can play left wing, and he does a thing left wing, but he's really good also playing right wing. And he's not a guy where you're trying to fit like a square peg into a triangle or a triangle into a square peg or whatever it is like that. So I'm happy that he's going to be coming to Manchester United. And you know what? I don't feel like Manchester United's ever going to have a time where we are struggling, unless we've got serious injuries, struggling for attack or struggling to bring someone off the bench now. Do you know what I mean? And because Sancho's so versatile as well, I mean, he can plug so many holes. He really can plug so many holes. So he can play AMC. Do you know what I mean? That's a false nine.
Right.
He can play on the right. He can play on the left. He can play up top. You know, if it was really desperate. Do you know what I mean? I feel like getting him is just so important for us. And I feel like Manchester United fans were so worried about the transfer, got so bored of it, just like how Pogba was, that we kind of failed to realize. And the latest thing as well, that, you know, he can't make it into the England squad. Saka got picked over him. But if you look at it really and you deep it, it's just like, because he's not getting picked, does that mean that he's not any, you know, that he's devalued or he's not as good as, you know, we should think he is. You know, just because he isn't getting picked under Southgate, because there's a lot of players that's not getting picked.
Yeah, with that, the only thing I worry about Sancho is I just don't know how he trains. You know, because some players are very good at training and some people are not very good at training. And I don't know, it worries me that he's not gaming, especially since Saka is ahead of him. You know, and obviously, what do you call it? Like 2 days ago, or yesterday or something like that, I saw this video on Twitter with Saka and Sancho when Saka was talking about how he scored more goals in training.
I saw that
than him, you know. He talked about how he scored more goals in training than him, and then he was talking about how many goals did you score in the league last season, though, you know. So something just told me that maybe at training he's not that much of a hard worker at training, you know. So maybe that might be it. But look, I just want to see him. It'll be interesting to have all these players. They only like to have players who got brains and kind of like can think on their feet, because we don't really have kind of like a style of play, and the players kind of like have to think. And Sancho is a very kind of like intelligent player that if you give him the freedom to kind of like do stuff on the pitch too, he will use his brain to kind of like just do that too. And I'm excited for like our attacking players. I'm really excited.
My thing is this with that, just before we move on that point with the England thing, is England's got a squad. They've got a squad of decent guys. You know, they've got, for example, Jude Bellingham. Jude Bellingham's not getting picked, right? Me personally, I like what I see with Jude Bellingham. You know, he's been the guy for Dortmund in the midfield, but yet Calvin Phillips is getting ahead of him. Jude Bellingham can't get in the squad. It doesn't take anything away from Jude Bellingham for me. If Jude Bellingham was available for 60 million, for example, and Calvin Phillips was available for 40 million, guess where I'll be putting my money on and adding that extra 20 million? It will be on Jude Bellingham. Do you know, that's just my view. You look at Grealish. I mean, he's getting a few games here and there now, but obviously look at Southgate. If it wasn't for the potential suspension and Foden or the sort of you know, COVID sort of.
I think Jude. He's very, very young, and you know what? Up until like recently, he hasn't even had no cap for England anyway. You know, so he's very kind of like. I mean, that's the problem with England. England don't like it. Kind of like throw this kind of like kids there. I think the last kid that he threw into the deep waters was like Wayne Rooney, and then he's shining his first European Championship. So sometimes you gotta throw them in there, you know, and just see what they can just do. But we always do this kind of like cautious kind of like approach and stuff. So it will be interesting to see like going for. But Jude go like a big future ahead of him. Don't be surprised if United going with like their long negotiation with Dortmund. I don't think Dortmund want to see us again, to be honest with you. I don't feel it too.
You know what I mean? I mean that's just my point. You know what I mean? So for me, Sancho, it doesn't faze me if Saka's getting in ahead of him. I know why we want to go for Sancho, and we're going for Sancho based on what he done in Dortmund rather than what he's been doing in England. We know that he's got the ability. We know he's got the talent. And you know what? When he gets into Man United and starts lighting up with that number 7 shirt for Manchester United, I will be very surprised if this guy isn't starting for England in the upcoming years. I'll be very surprised. I feel like he'll be getting thrown in there, especially as guys like Sterling begin to phase out. You know, obviously he's one of the most senior players in the squad. He can go on to play further, but I mean, I won't be surprised if Sancho gets in there. But yeah, we'll move on. So look, obviously the breaking news that's been hitting up the papers, hitting up the sort of media, Manchester United related transfer, Camavinga. Look, Camavinga has been linked to Manchester United by the Daily Mail, you know, and, you know, let's see if I can find anything. I don't know if I saw anything, but they're basically saying there's a journalist, actually, a blue tick journalist. It was fairly, you know, over maybe about 500,000 followers. He was basically saying that Manchester United's top priority is Camavinga now. And, you know, we're trying to look what happens. Obviously, it's saying that he chooses PSG. He'll prefer to stay in France, and his option would be to, you know, go to PSG. However, you know, Manchester United is looking at him. We're scouting him. We think that he could be, you know, a top priority. Now, for me, Varane's been our top priority. Sancho's been our top priority. Sancho's out of the way, but Varane's been our top priority. How can we have another top priority? Which one is our number one priority? Secondly, if we're linked to Camavinga like that, what does that say about Pogba? Is Pogba going to leave? Is he going to stay? Do you know what I mean? Because when you're linked to someone like Camavinga, for me, he just shouts out Pogba replacement. He doesn't sound like someone. He could potentially play with Pogba, But for me, he is a carbon copy guy of a less of potential. I mean, not less of potential, less of ability right about now than Pogba. But he just screams like a carbon copy replacement of Pogba. It's just that maybe Camavinga, maybe it can be a bit more defending, maybe he's a bit more tenacious in that sense. But
yeah,
for me, I don't know. I'll be excited, but I don't know.
But you see, the thing is, you know, people like Pogba replacement, he doesn't necessarily, you know, people just forget that our midfield is very light. Like when I talk about light, we don't have the depth there at all.
Yeah.
Matic is someone that I see leaving. You know, I see Matic leaving. And if Matic kind of like leave, it means that we go 3 players realistically competing for that 2 position. And that's just not good enough. Pogba is one player to that gets injured a lot throughout the whole season. So once he get injured, that means you only got McTominay and Fred for the whole season, which has been there too. And even that, if any of them get injured, you know, we always don't think about it. I mean, we talk about McFred and what do you call it? They're not good enough. But if McTominay or Fred get injured, bro, we don't have cover.
Yeah,
we don't have cover, you know. But with him too, obviously PSG. I know PSG got Wanwame kind of like through the line. They got Variety too, and they got Mayfield. I don't think they need him now. And he got 1 year left on his contract. He got 1 year left on his contract, so it will be easy to kind of like get that deal for cheap if United are definitely like interested. I don't know how good he is. I've heard a lot of like good like reviews about him, like he's good, like he can play. I feel like he's more like I don't know if he's a DM or more like a box to box. I don't know a lot about him, and I don't really see how it fits into our team. But I just worry with only getting young players, especially coming from like the French league, and I heard he's going to the Olympics anyway. So if we get him, he might not be ready for the start of the season. And then you know him, if he don't come there and have a preseason, there's no way he get game time. You know, there's no way he get game time. So if we're looking for a midfield to help challenge, I don't think he's ready. If you want to get him there and just maybe loan him out, then I understand if the money is there. But if we get him to say, hey, you know what, we're potentially looking for you to come and replace one of McFred, then you know what, there's no point there because he ain't gonna be the guy this season. That's just not it.
So my thing is with Camavinga, he's like, I ain't watched a lot of Camavinga, like full 90-minute games, but I've seen certain a few minutes of him here and there. But I ain't gonna lie, I haven't watched full 90 minutes of him, but I've heard good things about him. Just like you said, like he's a guy that is, you know, nice. He's tall, probably like 1.8 meters or something like that. It's pretty tall, physical, strong. He can attack as well as defend. He's like a more rounded player. I would say he's a guy that I'm still trying to figure out what position he is, because like last season when I did a bit of just checking, he played like majority of his games central midfield, but then the season before that he played majority of his games defensive midfielder. So as a guy that can play as a defensive midfielder, as a central midfielder, like a box to box maybe. He's comfortable in both. Obviously we're crying out for someone that is a specialist, someone, you know, that can do that defensive midfielder role well and sit and support, because that's what United really need. But then you got Camavinga is probably going to be like a generational talent, like a top quality player. He's a guy that's a year on his contract, but he's a guy that I can easily see if he joins a club, signs that contract, his value's automatically going to shoot up from what it is now, probably because he's on his last year of contract, maybe like 40, 50 million or whatever like that, 60 maybe too. Something being over up to 100 million because, you know, he's joined this club and he's going to develop and he's going to do well. And for me, I see like, it's a tough one with Camavinga. It really is. It's a tough one because I know that Manchester United can do well with someone that is not necessarily a DM, but we need someone that is ready like now in order to be able to do that role. Herrera wasn't a defensive midfielder. He had a bit of everything. He was a well-rounded guy. And I reckon he would have worked well with Pogba. But you've got someone like Camavinga is young. Can he do it? You know what I mean? Can he do it? Can he be disciplined enough? Because what I've read about Camavinga is a guy that he likes to roam out of position, which is going to annoy if you play him with Pogba, because then you've got zero cover. Do you know what I mean? They're guys that
you know what?
DM.
You know what? Watching Pogba play for Portugal, I saw something. You know, we talk about we want someone to sit.
Yeah.
We want someone to sit and then do that. But you know what? If you watch that game carefully, Pogba was more like the guy that was sitting compared to Kante. I saw a lot of the time that Pogba was more deep than Kante because he was getting the ball from deep, and then he was passing it, you know? So I don't necessarily feel like we need someone like that can rise this team. I feel like we need someone who was more energetic, you know, someone who got energy.
Look, Fred's got energy. He can run. My thing about
Fred got energy, but Fred is not good on the ball. That's the thing about Fred. Fred is more likely to lose possession, you know. Fred is more likely to lose possession. But you know what? Fred, if Fred had a bit more to his game where he just kind of like very good at tackling, because you don't necessarily need to score the goals. We don't necessarily need someone to score the goals. We just want someone who can just do like the basics that where like they can just run up and down the field and just not just run into winning tackles. I think only they just need to watch the blueprint of how Pogba play against like Portugal to just know that look, he don't even want to go forward that much. If you watch those games, Pogba don't really want to do that boss to boss because he was dropping deep. Kante, if you watch that game, I saw Kante more further up than Pogba because what he was doing was that. Did you see that game?
Yeah, Kante's a weird one. Because we look at Kante, and I've said Kante is like the best DM since Makalele or one of these guys. Like, he's one of the best DMs. But the thing about Kante is he's an advanced player as well. He's a box-to-box guy. He bombs forward as well. He's someone that is all-encompassing of what you want in a midfielder. He's everything you need. Like, yeah, he's not the most creative in the world or anything like that, but what he is more than a DM, and I feel like people are starting to realize that Kante is more. And he's just one of a kind, which is why it's hard to like tee up how Pogba would be, because he's next to one of the greats. Like, he's gonna retire. Kante, he's probably gonna have a statue built of him in flipping his country. My thing with Pogba is what I know about Pogba is it's not like he doesn't want to defend. Like, he wants to be free. He doesn't want to be restricted to being like, this is all you can do. When you've got a team that plays with guys like Kante and Tolisso, these are two guys that are more defensive minded than attacking minded, even though you see Kante getting forward. It allows Pogba to do what he wants to do, chill when he wants to chill, just have the freedom he wants. And Pogba, it's not like to say Pogba, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't going to be cool to be defending for Manchester United. It's just that when he wants to roam, we've got cover. Pogba can do what he wants to do. And I'm thinking about Camavinga. Camavinga's a guy that likes to roam as well. Like, I ain't watched him a lot, but what I'm hearing is that he's a guy that likes to roam as well. His defense, like, his positioning is not always the greatest. He's tenacious. You know, he can tackle, which is great. But, you know, when you've commented on, you know, Declan Rice for England and guys like that, you commented on that. You take pride on those guys actually just sitting in front of the defense and making sure that the attackers can express themselves. Now, when you got Camavinga trying to join in that play, then you're thinking, okay, like, who else is sitting here? Because there's only room for, like, you've got Bruno Fernandes that's certified, you know, the role as number 10 in front of that, behind the striker. There's no way we can have Pogba doing that role where he's having that freedom and doing all of that, and then having someone else that wants to join him in that sort of thing like that. We need someone that's saying, you know what, you guys do your thing. I'm going to have a picnic right here and defend.
Right. Well, I think with Pogba too, well, I mean, again, a midfielder kind of like complimenting him. I don't know. From watching him on this Euros, I'm starting to kind of like understand him kind of like more, you know. Even with this Euros, he's not more interested about scoring kind of like goals or anything like that. He's more interested in like being the playmaker of the team. And he wants to do that too. And then with the defensive thing too, he will defend, but he don't want to be the guy that kind of like has to kind of like go there and defend all the time. That's why he needs legs around him. You know, Kante help him just do that too, you know. So Kante help him do that. And then the finish too is he have runners. He got runners. Like, the amount of time I see guys like Mbappe, Benzema making those forward runs, you know. It was just a beautiful, like, when you have your attacking players do something like that, it make the midfielders look good. A midfielder can never be good if the attacking are not making run. Rashford, he know how to run most of the time. How many times do you see him make a forward run? How many times do you see what do you call it, Martial make a forward run too. But if we're looking at this guy, I don't know a lot about him to just say yes, he will complement Pogba there, or if he can even be a replacement. His age worries me because Oli don't really kind of like coach players. He just like for them to just kind of like go there and just use their brain to just do that. And I think that's why sometimes he don't trust the young players as much, so because he worries that, especially like in a midfield or defense, Oli don't like to play the youngsters because they have to think by themselves, you know. So he don't do that. If it's a generation talent like how Greenwood is very easy to coach. You tell that guy, hey, you know what, go there when you get a chance. You know what you're gonna do. He's just gonna shoot. So it's just very easy to coach those kind of players. I don't know how good he is because he came in from the French league too. I don't know. Is he a guy that would he come in and just straight away get into the starting level? I don't think so. How long it would take him to do it, depending on how many game times. And Oli is just one guy too that he just very scared to just kind of like give players a time. So I don't want it to be that kind of a signing where we like the Banter big signing where you just buy the player and then you're struggling to give him game time. I don't want that. If they buy players, I hope it is clearly thought through and they clearly know exactly what role they're gonna play into the team, and that's why we buy him. But I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure how credible that kind of a rumor is and stuff like that. But I feel like we are gonna know more in the coming weeks.
I feel so as well. I mean, like if it's true that PSG are linked with him as well, then he wants to stay in France. That's his priority, I'm hearing. So obviously we've got no chance PSG is going PSG, and it does look like PSG will have a good summer. You know, if they're linked to Varane, they're linked to Camavinga. You know, I can see these players personally going there. They've already got Genie Woodyard, and they potentially are trying to do quite a lot, in the market. Ramos potentially as well. So we can see. We'll see what happens with that. But for me, I don't know, man. Jude Bellingham made the right decision. He made the right decision. Look how much progression he's made. I don't want Camavinga coming and then we're stunting a year of his growth. If he's gonna go to somewhere, he needs to be under a manager that's willing to play him, like you said. Otherwise, there's just no point. But I do feel like he's a quality player. I do feel like he's one of the players, the next wave that's in line to take like the league by storm, whatever league they're in. But anyway, to conclude, we'll move on to the last but not least topic, which is the centre-back position. So we've touched on the name Varane. Varane has been suited as our number one defensive centre-back priority. Look, Varane, for me, when you look at the market of availability right now, ticks all the boxes. People say that he's a bit soft. People say, that he's not that great. He didn't have a good season last season, as what his usual standard is. There's question marks on Varane, but for me, there's question marks on every single player. There's question marks on Koundé. There's question marks for me for Pau Torres. There's question marks for me for, Ben White. There's question marks on everyone. And when you're looking at someone like Varane, who's accomplished so much, World Cup winner, Champions League winner, La Liga winner, he's a guy that is a leader. He's a guy that's quick. He's a guy that can header. He's tall. He's strong. Like, he's commanding. He's vocal. He ticks a lot of boxes, bro. He ticks a lot of boxes, and he's a guy that he's in his prime. He's 28. He's ready to come in, slot into that team, and do the thing. And the thing is, what is great is he plays on the right-hand side of the defense for Real Madrid, and we've got like Lindelof that plays that. It's an instant replacement. Whereas if he comes in, if we get someone like Pau Torres, for example, he's playing on the left side of the centre-back partnership, and then it's just Maguire. Is he going to be better on the right? Does Pau Torres have to go on the right-hand side? It's a bit of unknowns there as well. So Varane, obviously that guy that can come in, slot in instantaneously, job done, do your thing. Even if he's barking orders at guys, that's a big improvement because Lindelof don't do anything. And him with Maguire will be amazing. Like, for me, I've never said Lindelof is trash. He's not. For me, it's just the partnership just doesn't work. I think they're too similar. Maguire's a lot better for me personally now. I think that's a lot clear to me. Before those, he's better. Maguire's clearly better. And I thought the partnership will be great, man. I thought the partnership will be great. But for me, it's news broke out not too long ago that Koundé is not a priority for us as well. That came out. I think Tottenham's looking at him, which would be interesting to see him at Tottenham. You know what I mean? I don't know how they're going to be signing players and they even got a coach, so they need to sort that one out first so they can know what direction the coach wants to go in first before splashing out 50+ million on a centre back that the coach may not even like. So that's something that they need to sort out. But now it's looking like our top two targets is going to be either Varane or Pau Torres. Now Varane, I've told you already, it worries me about Varane, the fact that I've not got enough yet for me to be excited that yes, this guy's definitely coming. I've heard things, I've heard papers write about it, Independent, all of these people, you know, papers talk about it, these outlets, but I haven't heard anything from the horse's mouth. And I just ain't confident that this guy truly wants to stay, because I've heard conflicting stuff. I've heard that, you know, the contract, it's a contract thing. I heard that, you know, Real Madrid are just not offering him the money that he wants. So an element there is about the money as well, because if it was that Varane just wanted a new contract, I mean, he just wanted a new challenge, it wouldn't matter how much money that Real Madrid's talking about or how many years they're offering him. He would just be like, no. But for the fact that I'm hearing money and contracts is just not enough and the wages is not enough to make him stay, is making me think, okay, if Real Madrid somehow just said, you know what, offloaded a couple of guys, managed to drum up the money, offered him about 400 what he wants or whatever, would he stay? Do you know what I mean? He could equally stay. So for me, it's a bit worse. And then you've got PSG, who's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like personally,
I think as it stands right now, I will put United number 1, Real Madrid number 2, and PSG number 3.
Yeah,
in terms of where he will be playing next season. Because I don't know, from hearing the Real Madrid president talk, he don't talk like a guy that really is bothered to keep him. He was more likely to just say like, look, if you want to go, just come and tell me you want to go, and then we can start looking at how much we want to accept for you. But if you don't want to go, you got a contract on the table, so sign. You know, I don't think he's looking to just increase that contract offer that they're giving him. You know, I don't think like he's just very interested. It's more like, you know what, if you want to sign, sign. If you don't want to sign, then just tell us to go. We can get the money, we'll get Pau Torres, and then we can ship you up. Because I don't think they want to just do that. And to be honest with you, I think Pau Torres going to Real Madrid make more sense than Pau Torres coming to Man United, because he's already in the Spanish league. He already knows the Spanish kind of like league, and I feel like he'll be great for them anyway. So Pau Torres and Varane, one of them is moving. I'm very confident he's going to be a United player, because we're going to give him that wages. We're going to probably offer him like 300K. 300K. I think if we go to PSG, he will want more to go to PSG, and I'm talking about some ridiculous wages to go to, because PSG is also one of those clubs that they be using them for wages. You know, a lot of the star players that go there, they use them for wages. I don't care who you are, you use it. PSG are more likely to pay him more wages than United, because we got a bit more appeal to us. I expect once France kind of like go finish the Euros, which I told you around like the 14th of July, I expect big development to start going. That the next 10 days after that is going to be key. Like United are already probably talking to him right now in terms of like personal kind of like terms. And once the personal kind of like terms get agreed, it's just a matter of time that we kind of like agree a transfer fee with Real Madrid. But I don't know. I see him as a United player before the 5th of August. I really do. I really see him as a United player before the 5th of August. I don't know about.
Do you know what?
I
right?
feel like
the history, right, with signings and Manchester United. This is what I keep coming back to. The last time Manchester United has done 2 mega deals, I can't remember. I don't know if you know what I mean? I can't remember.
Oh, this time we're gonna do it.
I mean, this is where there's no history that I can fall back on, or at least recent history I can fall back on, where I see Man United splash out and get 2 mega signings. Yeah, we've got 1, but we haven't done it. Yeah, we've got a Di Maria's. We've got a Di Maria's. We've got Sancho that's coming in. We've got the Pogbas. You know, we've got these guys for free, and Ibrahimovic, and when they're passing on, and Falcao and all of these guys. But we haven't got a guy who a team like Real Madrid want to keep, come over and do 2 big signings in Sancho. And that it's just crazy to me. Secondly, when you've got a big team like PSG or something like that can do these deals, him being French as well, I mean, I don't know why you seem to think that, it's not a big thing. For me,
here is the thing.
Massive.
Yeah. The reason why I say that is because, especially with the centre back kind of position, Ole would have gone to the board and tell them, look, I don't want no mediocre centre back because we have tried and failed there so many times. You know, the last time this Splash managed to play a good centre back was Maguire. Let's just face it, he ended up becoming United captain now, and he's playing good. You know, they go Lindelof for cheap, it hasn't worked. We go Bailly for cheap, it hasn't worked. So the question is, do you still go for the cheap options, which is like the Pau Torres, and it's a gamble where it either works or don't work? Because if we go get Pau Torres right this season and it doesn't work, you're still looking at going there again to go get another big centre back. So the question is, you got Varane, who got 1 year left on his contract. You will never get a world-class defender this cheap.
Nah.
So
but the thing is, again,
about paying his wages.
Where's that money coming from? Like, I know that we've heard rumors here and there about 40 million, 50 million.
Bro, don't forget, you know what? Don't listen to what they tell you about, United got 100 million to spend, or United got, they got cash there. They got cash there. Bro, no. Obviously, it's all rumors that, United got 100 million to spend.
Where's it coming from? For me, I'm looking at it, okay, yes, he's got a year on his contract left. But even the people that's saying 40 million or whatever like that can't even believe it themselves. They're saying, oh, wow, like this is a bargain. Anyone you hear about Varane and hear 40 million, I think it's going to
be like that. No, I think it's going to be like that.
I won't be surprised if they come and say something like 70 million euros. Which is
70 million is like 65 million. That's still 65, 70 for 70, yeah.
It's a big difference. 65
million or 60 million. The thing is, Real Madrid want enough money to go get a cover centre back, which is Pau Torres, who I think his clause is 50 million euros. That's like 40 something. So even if they get 60 million, they spend 40 million on him, they still make 20 million there. You know, they still make 20 million there. And
Pau Torres is
offer him cheap wages too.
Pau Torres is 55 million pounds.
Euros.
How much it's going to take? No,
that was euros.
No, bro, 55 million pounds it's going to take to get him.
Even if it's pounds, we're going to give them enough money for them to buy him, save money on wages and stuff like that. I feel like that's how the whole thing is going to transfer. I feel like we will know more about that going forward. But if he was going to sign a new contract, the president would have come there and just say like, look, Varane, there's no problem. He's gonna sign a new contract. You know how PSG has been coming to do that, flexing on Mbappe, Mbappe and sign off yet. You know, when the president took, when he came and he talked about Ramos too, the same thing he talked about Ramos, and then Ramos ended up leaving too. Same thing he's saying about Varane. I feel like Real Madrid are just in this position where they cannot afford to give players those big wages anymore. So it's a matter of like, you either take what we're offering you, or we're going to move you on. And in the case of Varane too, he got 1 year left. And when players got 1 year left, you either Real Madrid cannot afford to let a player like that go on a free. They need the cash. They will sell him before they let him go on a free. And I'm telling you, and based on that, even if this deal drag on to deadline day, it will drag on, but United will get their man. I probably see it going all the way. We might probably get him, just like how we got Maguire, a week or so before the season starts. But we won't get that guy.
Or Real Madrid can see it as, we can't let this guy go on a free. You know, it's cheaper to offer him an additional like 100k or 150k.
Oh, Real Madrid ain't giving him that wage. That one, it is out of the ceiling. Real Madrid ain't giving him that wage.
They let go of Ramos. That could free up more money. They let go. Look, you know what I mean? The thing about it, this summer,
Ramos was too old. Ramos was too old to get that kind of a thing. I'm telling you, fam.
No, but
he was
old. Don't get me wrong, he was old, but he was on close. He was never in 400k. Regardless, they've moved him on now, and they've freed up near enough 400k. So they can do whatever they want with that extra wage budget. Do you know what I mean? And for me, it's like Real Madrid haven't begun to move players out yet. We don't know what it's gonna look like with Real Madrid. The picture it looks like they've got a lot of guys that. You know, Bell's, I don't think he's going anywhere, but you've got guys like, Odegaard that was, just left Arsenal.
They got Hazard there too.
They got guys that could potentially, Hazard, I don't think he wants to leave either because he said he's got points to prove or whatever. But they've got guys like Ceballos and Odegaard and all of these other guys that's at the club that they could potentially get lucky with. Teams might come in for them. They might be able to move them on and free up more wages to be able to do the deal. For me, the reason why I'm approaching this very cautiously, because I've told you what happened with Ramos. these guys are very tricky. Like they're very sneaky. They're not guys that you can't hang your hat on it and say, yeah, just, you know, take everything as face value. These guys really and truly have these tactics in them where they use our name, use us to generate whatever they need to do in their agenda, whether it's to be getting more wages or whether it's to get a move. I'm not saying that Varane's gonna be that guy, but I've seen it happen before. And for me, there's no way that I'm gonna be walking with my heart on my sleeve. Yes, I want Manchester United to be in that conversation. Yes, I want us to be trying, but it's a well-known formula they like to use.
Yeah, I know. With the Varane thing, I said to you, if he was using us to get a new contract, he will be using us when he had 2 years left on his contract. The guy got 1 year left, you know. He got 1 year left.
More pressure. More pressure on Real Madrid.
Yeah, but more pressure for Madrid to also let him go too. You know, I don't know, but I just feel like, and you know what, the thing about Madrid, the players too, is when they want to leave, it's more like a breakdown between them and the president. It's not even to do with the manager. I mean, people are saying that he's staying now because Carlos came in. Before Carlos came in, no one was saying that. If Zidane can't get him to renew his contract, Carlos ain't going to get him to renew the contract. But as I said, we're going to find out more kind of like going on there. We're going to find out more. We will find out more.
We're going to find out more. Look, this is the OT99 Banter Room where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and support the thing. Follow on Twitter at 99banter, Instagram at OT9_Banter Room, TikTok at OT99 Room, all one word. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, support the thing, and follow us on this journey. Look, next time I'm speaking to you, man, it could literally be Jadon Sancho. Here we go, lifting up the shirt, doing the thing. Look,
if England get knocked out on Tuesday, he's signing on Wednesday.
Gas. Look, we got a couple Euro games to watch. Look, it's going to be interesting. Today's a good day for football, man. So, you know what? I'm going to get to it. Look, be out. We'll catch you next time. Peace.